Hello all, welcome to Gurukul CAT 100 series, a series designed to take you from your study room to your corporate boardroom. I am Deepak and this is Daily Quant with Deepak. Hi all, welcome back to day 37 of 100 days to CAT Quant series. In this video, we will be discussing 5 questions from geometry. So whenever a question is displayed on the screen, pause the video, try solving that question. Once you are done solving, you can resume the video. If you find this video useful, like the video, share this video with your friends who are preparing for CAT, and most importantly, for more videos of this kind, subscribe to this channel. And in case if you want to attempt these 5 questions as a test, you can log into our website, thegurukul.org.in, where you'll find a course called 100 days race to CAT, in which you'll find 3 sections: quant, VRC and LRDA. We will be uploading 100 tests in each section, so consider this to be your last mile of preparation. And if you are a serious CAT 25 aspirant, you cannot afford missing these tests, right? So without any further delay, let's get started to the first question. An elastic rope of length 5 meters is fixed to the ground at its two ends. The rope was stretched and converted into an arc of a circle which subtends an angle of 60 degrees at the center. What is the distance of the midpoint of the stretched rope from the midpoint of the rope in original position? Assuming that the stretched rope expands in such a way that the endpoints of the arc are in the same position as they were in its original position, right? So let me consider these two to be the endpoints of the rope. Now this was stretched to form an arc, and the length of the rope is given to be 5 meters, and this arc subtends an angle of 60 degrees at the center, right? And this is given to be 5 meters, and we know that these two are nothing but radii of that arc, and they should be equal in measure. Now this is 60 degrees. The sum of these two angles should be 180 minus 60, which is 120. And we also know that the angles opposite to equal sides are also equal. So these two angles should also measure 60 degrees. So we have an equilateral triangle here. Now if the side of one of the sides is 5 meters, the other two sides should also be 5 meter and 5 meter. Now let me drop a perpendicular from the opposite vertex. So this will be the midpoint of the third side and midpoint of the arc as well. Now we are asked to find this distance, right? Now this angle will be 30 degrees, because in an equilateral triangle, height, angle bisector and median are all the same, right? So when you drop a perpendicular from the opposite vertex to the third side, that bisects the angle and also bisects the side, right? So this is 5 meters, and we have a special right angle triangle here of angles 30, 60 and 90. Now in the case of a special right angle triangle with angles 30, 60, 90, if the length of the side opposite to 30 degrees is 1, the length of the side opposite to 60 degrees should be root 3 and 90 degrees should be 2, right? Or the sides should be in the ratio 1 is to root 3 is to 2, right? Now here we have the length of the side opposite to 90 degrees, which is 5. Now if this is 5, the length of the side opposite to 30 degrees should be 5 by 2, and the length of the side opposite to 60 degrees should be root 3 times this, so 5 root 3 by 2, right? Now the length of this part is 5 root 3 by 2. Now we know that the radius of the circle or that arc is 5. Now if we are asked to find the length of this part, that should be 5 minus 5 root 3 by 2. So 5 into 1 minus the value of root 3 is approximately 1.732 by 2. Now this is 5 into 1.732 by 2, 0. So 1 minus 0.866. So this will be 5 into 1 minus 0.866, 0.134, right? Now 5 into 0.1, 0.5, 5 into 0.03, 0.15, 5 into 0.004, 0.02. So that would be 0.67. So hence the answer for this question should be option B. Now coming to the second question, in the figure, the two circles have P and Q as their centers and AB as their common tangent. AB is equal to 2 into OA. Okay, right? Now this is the point of tangency. At the point of tangency, the angle between the radius and the tangents is 90 degrees, right? So if I consider this as x, AB would be 2x and the length OB should be 3x. Done. And the sum of the circumference of the two circles is 14 pi. Now if I consider the radius of this small circle as smaller and this as capital R, now we have sum of the circumferences 2 pi into R plus R. Now this is given to be 14 pi, or the sum of the radius is 7 units, right? If OQ is equal to 36 units, now we are given with OQ, this length being 36 units, find the circumference of the circle with center R touching the two circles externally such that OPRQ are in the same on the same line in that order. So R should be somewhere here, and we have a circle touching these two externally. We are asked to find the perimeter of this circle, right? Now in order to find the perimeter of the circle, we should be finding the radius of this circle, right? Now this is 3x, or and this part is x, and if you observe, we have two triangles, triangle OAP and triangle OBQ, right? Now this is a common angle to both the triangles. Now this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees. So in two triangles, if two angles are equal, by default the third angle will be equal and both the triangles will be similar. So I can say that triangle OAP is similar to triangle OBQ, right? Now if the length of OB is 3x, the length of OA is x. Now similarly, if the length of OQ is 36, this should be 12, right? Now this part should be 12, and we know that this is OQ is 36. OQ, I can write OQ as OP plus, right? We have OP plus radius small r plus, let the radius of the circle be x, 2x plus this capital R. This should be equal to 36. Now we know that the length of OP is 12, right? So 2x plus, what is the length of sorry, what is the value of R plus R? 7 plus 7 plus 12 is equal to 36, or this implies 2x is equal to 36. 36 minus 19, 17, or the value of x is 17 by 2 meters, or 17 by 2 units. So the radius of this is 17 by 2. So the circumference would be 2 into pi into 17 by 2, 17 pi. Hence option C should be the answer to this question. Now coming to the third question from mensuration, three test tubes having equal heights but unequal radii are kept in a test tube stand. The radii of these test tubes are in arithmetic progression with the first term and the common difference each equal to 1. So the radius of the first test tube is 1, radius of the second test tube 2, and the third test tube 3. If 200 centimeter cube of acid is filled in each tube, find the ratio of the heights of the acid other than that in the hemisphere in these tubes. Consider the bottom of the test tube to be a hemisphere. So bottom of the test tube will be of this kind, right? Now we have hemisphere here and a cylinder here. Now it is mentioned that each test tube was filled with 200 cubic centimeters of acid. Now what will be the volume? Volume of the hemisphere would be, volume of sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. Volume of hemisphere would be 2 by 3 pi r cube, right? Then plus, considering the cylinder part, right? If this is filled for a height h, then the volume of the liquid in the cylindrical part would be pi r square h. Now this should be equal to 200, right? Or pi r square h is equal to 200 minus 2 by 3 pi r cube Now what was asked? We are asked to find ratio of heights. So h is equal to 200 minus 2 by 3 pi r cube by pi r square, or I can still write this as 200 by r square minus, I can cancel pi, right, and r cube and r square, so that should be 2 by 3 into r, and here you should be having pi. For the first test tube, this would be 200 by pi minus, where the value of r is 1, 2 by 3 is 2. For the second test tube, where the radius is 2 units, now this would be 200 by 4 pi minus 4 by 3 is to 200 by 9 pi minus 2, right, because r is equal to 3, these two will get cancelled. Now let us simplify this. Now if I further simplify this, right, by taking LCM, you will be having 3 pi here, 600 minus 2 pi is to, now we'll be having 12 pi here, 600 minus 16 pi is to, we'll be having 9 pi here, 200 minus 18 pi, right. Now I can cancel pi, and 3 fours, 3 threes. So what do we have? 600 minus 2 pi is to 600 by 4, 150. 150 minus 4 pi is to 200 by 3 minus 6 pi. So the answer for this question should be option. Now coming to the fourth question. Consider triangle PQR. A circle is drawn with QR as its diameter. Right. So let this be QR. Let this be point P. The circle intersects PQ at S and PR at T. RS bisects angle R. So RS bisects angle R. So let me consider, if this is X, this should also be X. And QT bisects angle Q. So if this is Y, this should be Y. Find QT plus RS if QR is equal to 6 centimeters, right? So this circle is drawn by considering QR as diameter. So this part is nothing but semicircle. Now angle in the semicircle is a right angle. So this is 90 degrees and this is 90 degrees, right? So let me consider triangle SQR. Then what do we have? This is 90. The sum of the other two angles should be 90 degrees. So we have 2y plus x is equal to 90 degrees. If I consider triangle QTR, we have 90 here, and we have 2x plus y. So 2x plus y should also be 90 degrees. Now when you solve these two equations, right, or we can clearly see that value of x should be 30 degrees and y should be 30 degrees, right? So let me replace x with 30 degrees. This is 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, right? Now if angle Q is 60, angle R is 60, angle P should also be 60 degrees. So this is an equilateral triangle, right? Now what was asked? We are asked to find QT plus RS. Now given with this, the length of the side opposite to 90 degrees, if that is 6 meters, right? Now the length of side opposite to 30 degrees will be half of that, which is 3, and the length of the side opposite to 60 degrees will be root 3 times this. So this is 3 root 3, and similarly QT is also 3 root 3. We are asked to find the sum of these two, and 6 root 3 centimeters should be the answer to this question. Now coming to the fifth question, a cyclic quadrilateral is such that its two adjacent sides are equal to its shorter diagonal and form a triangle. So these two sides and the shorter diagonal, they form a triangle, and all these three sides are equal. So hence this is an equilateral triangle. We are asked to find the perimeter of the quadrilateral if length of its longer diagonal is m units. So this is the longer diagonal of length m units, and it passes through the center of the circumscribing circle. So this, the longer diagonal, is the diameter of the circle. Right. Now if this is diameter of the circle, now given that this is a cyclic quadrilateral, all the vertices will lie on the circumference of the circle. Or for example, let me consider this to be semicircle, right? So this angle should be 90 degrees, right angle, and since we know that this is an equilateral triangle, this should be 60 degrees, this should be 60 degrees, this should be 60 degrees. Now let the, and we are also given that the length of the longer diagonal be m. So if this is 60, this should be 30 degrees, this should be 30 degrees, right? Now if this is 30, this is 30. In this triangle, the sum of the three angles should be 180. So this should be 120 degrees, and this is 60, and this is 60 degrees, right? Now if you observe, this is 60, this is a right angle, this should be 30 degrees. Now the side opposite to right angle in a right angle triangle, if that is m, the side opposite to 30 degrees, that should be half of that, m by 2. And the side opposite to 60 degrees should be root 3 times the side opposite to 30 degrees. So this should be root 3m by 2, right? Now this is equal to this. So root 3m by 2 plus root 3m by 2, root 3m, and these two triangles are congruent. 60, 30, this is 30, this is right angle. So these two triangles are congruent, or this is a kite where these two are congruent triangles and these two are congruent triangles. So if this is m by 2, this should also be m by 2. So m by 2 plus m by 2, m. So this would be m into root 3 plus 1. Hence option B should be the answer to this question.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.